Hi, this is Justin Bransford. Welcome to Base Lab, New Mexico. Today, I'm sitting with somebody that I have a lot of respect for, highly regarded, Mr. Colin Deuble.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, Colin.
Thanks for inviting me here, man.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us here.
Thanks for coming to my house.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. We're hanging
Cool.
out in your sort of music room and got some drums and some bass gear, which is cool. And the first thing we want to ask you is how you got started in music and how old were you when you started playing bass?
Okay. I started music like in elementary school, playing like piano lessons, just basic piano lessons, classical piano lessons or whatever. My parents I have a brother and a sister, made us all start in elementary school playing classical piano lessons. And then I took that until, I don't know, junior high. And then junior high, I had to pick a band instrument, and I picked French horn. And I somewhat pretty seriously pursued French horn through junior high and high school.
Really?
And got into college on horn, actually. I was a pretty decent horn player for a high schooler. So I got into college on French horn, actually. But my senior year of high school, there was no bass player in the jazz band. I was maybe the year before that half-assing playing trumpet in jazz band, and there was no bass player in the jazz band, and the band director had a electric bass, and I was like, I want to try doing that. And I took it home. I think I got like a lesson book and started learning how to like transfer over the reading notes to bass clef and stuff like that. And then I hooked up with Milo Jaramillo. And that's how I got like started in bass, because Milo was like and still is one of my huge inspirations, for sure.
No kidding.
Yeah, so Milo's the reason. Milo's the reason I'm a bass player, for sure.
Wow, and he's going to be on the show, I'm sure,
Sweet.
at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Milo. Wow, that is so cool. And that's impressive that you were able to start looking at bass clef and transposing music on the bass at that age.
Yeah, I can't really remember how that went, but I already knew how to read music, and I knew how to read left hand from the piano, so I was already familiar with bass clef, but just trying to figure out where those notes are on the fingerboard.
Yeah.
And at that level, it's pretty basic, so I guess I figured it out a little bit.
So you had a chance to play in the orchestra or
at the high school one?
Yeah.
So it was just I grew up in Berlin. I didn't.
Okay.
Say that. So just local small town jazz band. Wasn't like a super great high school jazz band or anything like that. But yeah, at that level, it's like reading some real simple bass lines and starting to learn the function of bass.
And that was your first taste of playing bass, and then when did that become like, I want to play bass, like I want to be a bass player?
Well, Milo inspired me for sure. Like that was, he turned me on to like what the role of the bass is, and I gravitated towards that, and I still gravitate towards. I really like the role of the bass in music, and Milo showed me what that is at a high level and how that functions in a bunch of different styles of music. And then, like I said, I ended up getting into college on French horn, auditioning and getting into college on French horn. And I ended up at North Texas, which is a really renowned jazz school. And I kind of did that because my best friend, with the saxophone player that I mentioned earlier, was auditioning to North Texas. And so I auditioned to North Texas on French horn, and I got in. And he bailed last second and ditched me over there. And so I was at this school that has like a crazy jazz program, and I was just go around every corner. I heard like high level jazz, and I guess in senior year of high school, I was starting to listen to jazz and enjoy jazz as like something to listen to. But yeah, it wasn't until my freshman year or so in college that I was like, I don't really like classical music. And I really like jazz, and I was like, I really like trying to play bass, and I was like, I want to be like Milo, and I sort of snuck in the back door at the program there at North Texas, and got through it somehow.
And so you switched to bass then from French horn?
Yeah, I have like weird feelings about it because like a lot of people know that school as being like a real high level jazz music school, and I would never have gotten into that school on bass had I auditioned on bass. And so I was there, and I just kind of started signing up for jazz classes.
Oh, cool.
And then somewhere along the way, I changed my major to jazz and struggled through it.
Yeah. Wow. What a cool opportunity.
Yep.
Wow. I didn't realize that you went to North Texas and that you got to study jazz. That's really remarkable. That's really great.
Yeah. Like I say, I have weird mixed feelings about it. It's, I wasn't like most of the kids there that I remember were like already playing such a high level. And I was kind of a beginner. So it was a little bit of a different experience, I think, for me.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I got a good foundation there, I think.
And did you start playing gigs over there?
Yeah, a little bit. I think those were where some of my first gigs were, playing just small little restaurant gigs with some friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's not the biggest town right there, right where the school is.
Yeah. Pretty small town. Yeah, pretty small town. Pretty big community, though.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. And then when did you come back to the Albuquerque area, to New Mexico?
Right after college. I got through my degree there somehow. And that was, I think, 2003 I came back.
Okay.
And so I grew up in Belen, went to North Texas, and came back right after that. So I think that was 2003, I think.
Okay.
Moved to Albuquerque.
Yeah.
So I've been here since.
Yeah. And you've played with a lot of great musicians in the Albuquerque area.
Yeah, I feel lucky. I've gotten to play with there's a lot of great players here. So yeah.
Yeah, there is a lot of great players. And you're one of the household names in the area for getting asked to play gigs. So who are some of your favorite cats that you've gotten to share the stage with over the years? I know there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm pretty grateful to play with anyone that I've gotten to play with over the years. But I think I owe a lot to like Steve Figueroa and Diego Arancon. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Or do you remember
shout out
Diego?
to Steve and Diego for sure.
But that's what was my first like jazz trio I was in, where I feel like I kind of cut my teeth and learned to kind of play a little bit.
Oh, okay. After
college, I played with those guys for quite a few gigs, and then freelance, and I don't know, just a little bit with everybody I can.
Mm-hmm. So. Mm-hmm. Have you had any stints where you've been with a regular band for a long time, or have you kind of do you consider yourself more of a freelancer? Do you have projects that are more close to your heart, kind of like that, or?
I really consider myself a sideman, like a freelance sideman.
Yeah.
But time just like keeps on going. I have been in there's a few bands I've been in for a long time that I'm very grateful to be part of. One is Calle 66 with Steve. That's Steve Figueroa's salsa band with Jackie Zamora and Steve. And currently that's with Paul Gonzalez and Glenn Coster and David Flores and Ricky Carrito. I don't know. I always have to say his last name.
Sure, yeah, the Conguero. Yeah.
And very honored to still be in that band. I've been in that band for probably like 15 years now. So.
Wow.
And still feel very white in that band. It's still such a struggle to get those feels. So.
Well, you got those feels. You got the feels. Does that band have any gigs coming up?
I think there's something coming up in January. Could be. We were starting a steady Q bar thing, and then they canned it. And that band was playing at Juneau like once a month, and that's stopped. I'm not sure if that's coming back in the summer or something like that. But yeah, that band usually works like maybe once a month or so.
Okay.
And then I've been in AJO for quite a while now too.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Keeps my reading skills a little bit on par.
Yeah. Where's the Albuquerque Jazz Orchestra playing these days?
We just started a new venue at Uptown Sports Bar.
Okay.
So first Tuesday of every month, we're going to be at Uptown Sports Bar. See how long that lasts there.
Great.
So,
Fabulous.
Yep.
What other exciting projects do you have coming up?
I don't know. Just some freelance stuff, really. I work a lot with. You've probably done some of those Diamond Empire wedding gigs.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I work a lot with that band.
Okay.
And usually when I work with that band, I work with D. Brown and his group.
Yeah, shout out to D.
He hired me to do one that's like his band, so I'm looking forward to that one. That's coming up,
cool.
Like a New Year's Eve gig.
Nice.
So I'm always honored to play with D.
Absolutely.
I can't really think of what else I have coming up, honestly.
Lots of stuff, I'm sure.
Well, this is the slow season, so
What are some of your favorite rooms to play in town? Let's say in Albuquerque. Let's say you're playing with a band. It's not a super loud band, not maybe sort of an average volume. Man. What are some of your favorite rooms to play? Can you think of some rooms that you really enjoy?
I don't know, man.
I feel like the musician's nice.
I've played a couple gigs recently at Teddy Rose. That's kind of fun because it's such a small place. I can get away with my upright in there without an amp, which is cool.
I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's fun.
And they treat you nice there.
Yeah.
My go-to answer for that kind of thing used to be Zinc, but I haven't played there since before the pandemic. I don't even know if they're hiring music anymore. But that underground bar used to really be fun to play in.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's very many venues that I would say that like I've been at regularly these days.
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh gosh,
it's just all over.
Well, the Outpost is a world class.
Oh,
that kind of goes without saying. Yeah, I've been curious about playing these cannabis dispensary lounges.
The Hall. I've played there a few times, and it's like really cool.
That's a cool place.
That place is cool.
That place is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds good in there. It's like a good hang.
You can do artistically anything you want.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, I forgot about that place.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite styles to play? I know you play a lot of jazz.
I play some jazz, but I still really I love playing electric. I remember when I was at North Texas feeling like, why does jazz have to be played on upright bass? Because I liked electric bass, and they kind of pushed like upright bass on me. And I didn't really start to fall in love with like the role of upright bass in jazz until I was playing with Steve and Diego, and like I learned to understand that like that's that sound, like, and that it's part of it. You know what I mean? So I really like upright bass for jazz, but for anything else, I love electric. So I love playing anything that's kind of groove oriented. I play a baby bass in the salsa band, so that's like fun, kind of in between.
Oh, that's great.
But I like playing electric bass a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I love to play the blues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, blues is cool. But
do you get a chance to go to the Cactus Cats Blues Jam ever and sit in?
I haven't. I'm kind of embarrassed. I haven't been going to jam sessions since I had kids and stuff,
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
I know exactly how that goes, Well, you have a wonderful family and you're busy and you've got a lot of stuff going on, How do you feel about the scene right now in New Mexico, and what would you like to see more of for us musicians, or less of, or however you want to interpret that question?
I don't know. I think first, like, the scene has grown a lot. Like, don't you feel like during the pandemic and since then, like, there's a lot more musicians here. There's a lot of really good musicians here. I feel like the venues died off, and then like now there's like more venues kind of popping up, which is cool. I think the bass pool of bass players here is incredible. And particularly, I think that there's so many great bass players here.
True.
what I like to see for everybody here is just always, I don't know, more camaraderie, more venues, more everyone playing with each other and less clicky. I mean, it's not particularly clicky, but I mean, that's the thing that always kind of feels weird about music sometimes.
Yeah. But, yeah. There's like little circles that kind of stay together, and so yeah, let's infiltrate each other's little circles a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good for everybody, I think.
Yeah. So, one thing we do a lot as sidemen and bass players is we learn songs a lot. And one thing I wanted to ask about you is what's your favorite method of learning material? Like, let's say you have a gig with Diamond Empire and you have to learn 15 songs for next Saturday. Do you write charts for yourself? What do you do?
It's a combination of stuff for me. That gig in particular has I feel like been the biggest thing that's improved my ability to learn tunes kind of quickly and put stuff in memory really quick, really temporary memory and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So sitting down with the tune, first I've gotten a lot better than I used to be at understanding, especially in pop tunes. I used to kind of look down on pop tunes and be like, oh, it's just the same thing the whole time, whatever. But I've gotten a lot better at seeing how there's different sections. I understand the verse and the chorus and the bridge and stuff more, and you start to see some more of those patterns of when the bridge comes and stuff like that. And so I've gotten better at quickly understanding what the form is. Kind of try to always take notes what could happen maybe in this live setting, maybe the singer doesn't go there, and what happens with that. And so I've gotten a little better at locking the options into my head a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually I kind of figure out what the basic groove is. Our role is often significant in defining what a song is, especially in pop stuff. It's usually a pretty particular bass line that makes it sound like that,
right?
And just seeing what changes when it goes to the chorus or whatever. And so sometimes if it's a little complicated tune, I'll write a little scratchy chart.
Little chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Sometimes I write charts. Usually I write a chart if it's something I'm probably going to play once, and it's not just a quick learn. If it's got more than a couple sections, I'll just kind of write a basic chart so I can get through the gig.
Yeah.
But if it's something I know I'm going to play multiple times over weekends, I'll just try to play it by memory. I'm curious what your experience is with Diamond Empire gigs.
Oh yeah,
and tunes, that kind of setting.
As far as I can tell, there's two ways to learn a song: really spending the time with it and memorizing it, or writing it out, or some combination between the two. And I started transcribing all those songs, and I have a folder with all the music in it, and it's alphabetized, and I put little alphabetical tabs in there so that I could find the songs quick.
That's awesome.
But I think I also like to challenge myself to just learn stuff. So there's not charts for everything, but just for certain things. And it could be a first dance that you're going to play once and then you're never going to see it again. And sometimes it's easier to just write it out.
Yeah. That reminds me, in the beginning of that gig for me, I think I was writing more little charts.
Yeah.
And it would usually be try to write the basic groove to jog my memory of how it goes and maybe what the chord changes do. But the problem I had with that, I wasn't organized enough to be often tunes were just called on the fly without going down the set list exactly the way it was, and I wasn't organized enough to be let me assess my notes and switch gears and like find the tune. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I started learning how to like just remember better. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Yeah.
I stopped writing most of those charts, but I wish I was a little bit more organized and had a huge file.
Sometimes people get too organized. Like you'll put, okay, we have the set list, and then you'll put your music in the order of the set list. But then once you go off the set list, then you don't know where that music is because it's no longer alphabetized or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Ideally, you could be super organized, but
yeah,
that's a good example of like the perfect setting where you just, like you don't have time to look for a chart.
Right. Maybe with an iPad. Do you ever use an iPad on the gig?
I mean, I do. Like Kaya 66 has a pretty big book of charts that are mostly like really nice charts that Steve wrote, you know? And I have that on Fourscore and I can like find it quick.
Oh,
like
cool.
If they change the set list, I can pretty quickly just like go to search and type it in.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't have like my pop tunes or my Diamond Empire type stuff organized like that. I play with the drummer in Diamond that does something that's combination. Like he writes like scratchy handwritten charts and then takes a photo of them and then has them all on his iPad, and he has some way of finding them. But I don't know how he finds them quick because I don't know if they're alphabetized or whatever.
Yeah.
And I know Thomas is good at organizing them.
He's good with the iPad.
Yeah, I don't really know how he does it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, those wedding gigs are funny.
Yeah. I like them though.
Yeah.
Some people don't like them, but I like them.
It's a special day for somebody.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a special day for somebody, and honestly, for me, like the Diamond Empire experience for me has been one of the few like musical settings where it's like I feel like those are my like friends also that I'm playing with. I don't know if that makes sense, but like we're hanging out, like we're having dinner together, we're sometimes sharing hotel rooms together. We're like you have to be there for this huge chunk of time, and sitting hanging out.
Yeah.
And that sort of changes the experience for me quite a bit, instead of just showing up for a gig, playing and leaving. And I don't know, some of those kinds of settings feel a little bit more like colleagues.
You're a crew. You're a crew when it's the band, because it's like the wedding party, like the photographers, the caterers, and the band. Right? Not to leave anybody out, but and so the band is, we're always kind of sticking together. We're all kind of like, we have our little band table, and it's kind of a crew. Yeah, we're kind of a crew like
in this
that.
Weird setting where we're an isolated crew.
Yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's cool
though. I know you're really busy, and you may not have time to listen to a lot of music, but if we were to sneak into your music library or your car, what would we find? What are you listening to right now?
I'm embarrassed to say I'm not like in a big listening phase right now.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I can jump all over the place. I think I sometimes get overwhelmed with how many options there are these days. You're not doing CDs that much, and I've got like a 6 CD changer in one of my cars that the same CDs have been in since I bought the car. And so sometimes I just keep listening to those CDs. There's like a Ron Carter and Rosa Passos album in there that's really cool. And there's a Wynton Marsalis Lincoln Jazz Center in there that's cool. And but usually it's like iPad or iPod or your phone, I mean. Mm-hmm. So usually for me these days, it's like listen to stuff that I need to learn for a gig.
Sure.
I'm kind of in this habit these days of like when I'm driving by myself, listening to podcasts instead of music, and I need to get back to like listening to music. I think I went through I revisited a bunch of Radiohead recently. Like I seem to always come back to Radiohead. I always come back to Steely Dan.
Cool.
Jazz-wise, I always come back to anything that's like got Paul Chambers in it, or like old school like swing. I recently went to a couple months ago. Went to the Outpost and heard the SF Jazz
Collective.
What are they called? Collective.
Yeah.
and that was mind blowing. And like I ever since then, I'm like, I want to like get into some of those albums. I've never really listened to those albums, but that's in my mind. I'm like, that's where I want to go.
It's a great
jazz
ensemble.
Listening. Yeah, that was insane.
Great ensemble.
Mm-hmm.
I have their record that's all Stevie Wonder music.
Oh, cool.
They made about 10 years ago. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah. Who are some of your favorite bass players? Let's say if you had to pick the top 3.
That's sort of an impossible question, right?
Yeah, it's kind of an impossible question.
But let me think. I think I'm gonna break it down like this. I think like, traditional jazz type style. I'm a Paul Chambers fan. I'll never get tired of listening to Paul Chambers. Modern bass players, Matt Brewer, Larry Grenadier. Those are kind of my favorite guys in the jazz realm. On electric type stuff, same kind of thing, man. Like James Jamerson, Pino Palladino. Stuff. I really like the function of bass. I think just like guys that are just playing the role really well.
Yeah.
I think is my favorite.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's like I used to always say that Victor Wooten was my favorite bass player because like he's insane and I love Victor Wooten, but yeah, I love anyone that's like just playing the function of bass really well.
Yeah.
Like a lot. I like that.
Yeah. Me too.
So I like guys like Pino and I don't know.
Yeah, those are some good names. Pino Palladino and James Jamerson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. All right, so he's pulled out a couple of electric basses here. So what are we looking at here? Tell us what we've got.
Well, I like Fender kind of basses mostly, I think, these days. But I've got this bass that's one of my favorites, and I'll always keep this bass for sure because I put it together.
You put it together.
Back when I worked at a guitar shop a long time ago, and kind of got introduced to the world of putting basses together from parts.
Yeah.
And this is like almost all parts.
Like reclaimed parts, kind of?
No, like Fender replica. There's a whole...
No way.
There's a bunch of companies that do like Fender shaped bodies, and you can just buy them, everything separate, and put it together. And then my friend kind of taught me how to paint it. And so I painted it. And then I did a whole bunch of stuff to kind of relic it and make it look old.
That's so cool.
And it came out really good. The bass sounds awesome and it looks cool.
It looks really cool.
And so that one's one of my favorites. I'll always keep that for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Wonderful.
But it's not a real Fender. It's just all parts bass.
Well, you could have fooled me. It's real cool. Real cool. I like that old school bridge too.
Yeah, it's funky.
Yeah, I like the white pickup covers.
Yep.
Those are cool.
And then you look at, I got all the paint to like really check and make it look old and cracked.
Yeah, I was noticing that too. Yeah.
This one's cool.
Yeah.
So this one's cool. I've got, for a long time, the electrics I always had jazz basses, Fender Jazz.
Yeah.
I never had a P bass until I finally, a few years ago, bought this pink one just because I wanted to get a P bass and try to get comfortable on P bass.
That looks like a nice brand.
And that's a brand called nice. Modern Vintage. That's, again, there's a million companies out there doing kind of Fender, their own take on Fender basses.
Yeah.
This one's Modern Vintage, and I kind of have an in with the builder, so I got a super good deal on this one just because it had a little ding in the headstock.
It's pretty.
And that one's cool.
It's pretty.
That one's really cool.
Yeah, love that. Love that pink.
Yeah. And then I've honestly mostly been playing this red one for the last year or so because it's just a Squier. It's just a cheap, like $300 Squier that I found at a guitar shop.
Flat wounds?
Yeah. And that bass feels and sounds great. And it's like, one of those basses that you don't really feel bad if it gets you take it to a gig and film like it's sitting on the side without supervision or getting bumped into.
Not so precious. Yeah.
But it sounds and feels and plays great. So I've been mostly playing that thing.
No kidding. Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great.
And then that's just a 5-string version of a P bass that I picked up from another great bass player in town. Steve Williams.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So he sold that one. And so that's a 5-string one when I need some extra low notes.
Yeah. Cool. Nice little collection of electric basses. Thanks for showing us.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. Let's turn the chapter and take a look at some of your acoustic basses.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is just no name bass from, I think, early 1900s, maybe 1920s. I don't know. I don't really know a lot about it. I actually found it on Craigslist.
You found it on Craigslist?
It was at Robertson's, but it was like I saw the advertisement on Craigslist.
Oh, okay.
At a time when I was looking for just a bass that I didn't feel kind of like one I didn't like a backup bass that I didn't feel like I needed to be as careful with as the one that I was telling you that I'll show you in a little bit.
Okay.
But I've turned this one has kind of turned into my main bass because it's just so much more comfortable and easy to play. Mm-hmm. It's like
what kind of strings do you got on here?
And loud. The E, A, and D are Tomastic Spirocore.
Okay.
Right, and then the G string is a Piastro Olive. So I'm trying that setup for a while, and I like the sound and the feel of it, but these strings are so expensive. Like this thing was like $180, and like they start to fall apart really quick. You see that? So it's a gut core with a wrap, and so I don't know, man. So I don't know if I want to keep doing that or not, but. And you've got the tune really easy.
You've got the Realist on here.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So that bass is cool.
Yeah. So when you're playing a big show and you're on a big stage, how does your signal path usually go? Like when you're let's say you're playing like a festival or something like that, and you usually go through like a preamp and then to the front of the house, or like you usually just go through your bass amp?
I usually take my bass amp and let them take a signal from my bass amp, but that's something that you remind me, like, I think your show should maybe somehow find a way to talk about, or all of us bass players should get together and talk about getting an amplified sound.
Yeah, right.
Because that's a struggle that I don't know. I still don't feel like I have a great handle on getting a great amplified sound in different spaces. Because, you can go to one venue, have your amp set the same way it is at another venue, and it sounds completely different. And for me, I found that that's like the biggest factor of feeling okay about my playing or not. Is like if the sound that's coming out sounds good to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I'm still learning like how to noodle with the knobs.
So you saw this on Craigslist. Now remind me, when was this? How long have you had
I've had this bass probably now for I don't know. Probably over 8 years, probably 10 years.
Okay, 10 years. That's a good chunk of time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you say it's kind of becoming your main bass, huh?
Yeah, I always go back to it. I have another upright bass that I'll show you if you want, that has a cool story behind it, because it was my best friend growing up's grandfather's bass that I kind of inherited.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. Okay. So here's the other bass.
Yeah, this is my other bass that I kind of inherited from my best friend growing up's grandfather.
Your best friend's grandfather's bass.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this, I don't know the history of what kind of stuff he was playing, but he played a little bit around here, I think, like a long time ago.
Okay.
And so he passed away. My best friend inherited this bass, but he's the saxophone player. And so we, like a long time ago, I bought him a saxophone, and he gave me the bass.
He gave you the bass. So, incredible.
So it's like, and it needed some work. I got like a few things done on it that I got it to come together, and it's actually an awesome bass. But I tend to I go through phases where I'm like, I'm gonna make this my main bass because I actually like the sound of this one better.
Yeah.
But the other one is just like so much easier to play and louder.
Oh, and louder.
I always go back to it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Goldie.
Wow.
So this one's like has a nicer sound. You should play it. It's like a nice rich sound.
Really
but it's
rich
big.
sound.
It's like a lot bigger body, bigger fingerboard. It's like it's harder to get around on. Yeah.
Wow, that's got a beautiful sound.
It sounds good hearing someone else play it.
It's got a beautiful sound. Spiral chords all the way.
Yeah.
On this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't tried too many other strings. Like honestly, like I don't know. It's so expensive to try strings on.
It is expensive to try strings, no doubt about it.
Like I think I went through a phase where I tried a few other ones, but I just landed on the basic,
the standard. Yeah. Well, Colin, thank you so much for letting us come over and take a look at your basses.
Thank you for having me, man.
And talking with us about your musical experience and your playing.
Of course.
And yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, I'm honored you asked me. Thank you, man.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Cool. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah.
Thank you.